you learn in health assessment, you have to do your assessment first by asking the patient's questions, right? So that's going to include specific information that relates to the problem that patient may be dealing with, that relates to hematology, that relates to blood disorders, okay? So you're going to ask them several questions. So this first one kind of goes through it in that sense of your health assessment. So I'm not going to really go through that, but that's there for you. What I want to do is go into specifics. So structures and functions, again, really relates to your anatomy and physiology. So if you don't feel comfortable with that aspect of what I'm talking about, then go back and review, okay, because it's a lot of information that I don't have time to do A&E. So, study of blood, so that's what we're looking at, okay? When we talk about the study of blood, we want to look at those aspects that affect the aspects of the flow of blood. So, we're looking at these elements. We're looking at bone marrow, okay? Because that is where your RBC, your H&H, your hemoglobin, and hematocrit, they are all produced by the bone marrow, right? You guys know that. Mm-hmm. Now, let me emphasize to you as Research 1 students, you need to start to learn your labs. If you don't learn your labs, I tell you, today I lectured the Research 2 students who are getting ready to graduate in August, and they don't know their basic labs. That's crazy. You know, here's what you want to do. You are in the moment to learn, not memorize for testing and then it's gone. That's not nursing. You've got to learn it. So start learning your basic labs. So if I ask anyone here, could you tell me what the normal H&H is for male and female? Could you do that? Could anyone tell me that information?
I think hemoglobin is supposed to be over 11 grams per deciliter.
Okay. For who? Male or female? Okay. So. Well, no, it's higher for male. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Is this the book?
Yes.
In the back of your book, in the very back, there are pages that give you the appendix, and it's looking at all of the labs. Because when you are tested for this course, I'm going to use the references from this book. All right? Now, granted, in clinical, they may be slightly different, right? Because the lab people do that. But for this course, for testing purposes, I'm going to use them from here. You want to start to learn these labs because as a registered nurse, you need to know them. Does anyone know the white blood cell, WBC range? And I don't want any guessing. I want to know that you know. It's actually, the book will tell you.
4 and 11.
What's that?
4,000.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes. So, start to learn these basic labs that are going to be pertinent to you caring for patients. When you go to clinical, if you look at their labs, you want to understand. So just because someone H&H, hematocrit and hemoglobin, is low, doesn't necessarily mean it's because they are anemic. It could be because the erythropoietin is not produced well in the bone marrow. You see what I'm saying? So start to appreciate, because as you progress to MedSurg 2, it's going to grow. And if you can't answer these questions on testing, then you're going to miss the question. And I want you to get it right. Okay? So, bone marrow, blood, the spleen, lymph, all of this is relevant to the blood formation that is then traveled through the patient. Okay? So what I just said, hematopoiesis, that's what I'm talking, it's that process of blood cell production. And we're going to look at WBC, RBC. Does anyone know what the normal platelet count is?
151, 400.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much. You just read it out of the book. Good. I'm okay with that.
When I'm in clinical, though, a lot of times the software will list values that are slightly different.
I just said that, yeah. So, they're going to be slightly different. But in testing, if you can get pretty close in terms of your choice, that's going to be very, very good. So, sometimes you may not see the exact answer that you want, but the closest is going to be what we need. Oh, it's still going around. Okay. All right, very good. Now, this is just a blood cell development chart that sometimes as a visual is very, very helpful. If you have questions, please feel free, okay? Structures and functions. Again, bone marrow. Two types of bone marrow. The yellow is the adipose and the red is the hematopoiesis, okay? So, we're talking red and yellow. And here I put in a little information for you in the notes area that makes that a little bit more clear about what it means. So look at the notes area on the slides as well. So hematopoiesis occurs within the red bone marrow. So that's what we're talking about. Production, that's where it's going to happen. In adults, it's found in just about everywhere in our body. Your body is a wonderful machine, if you will. And if you treat it right, it works right. All right? Now, so these are values for blood components. So we're looking at plasma, and we're looking at your red blood cells here. So this is just a visual in terms of when we actually draw blood. Okay? Plasma constitutes 55% of blood. So it's the highest in terms of the breakdown. Plasma. So this again is kind of the breakdown of what we want to talk about. So blood cells make up 45% of the blood. So 55 is what did I just say? There you go. And the blood cell is 45. Now, when we break that down, as I mentioned earlier, we're talking RBC, we're talking WBC, and platelets. So did I not just ask you what those levels? So what that means is you want to go back and you want to find out what the normals are from your book and start to learn those. Don't memorize, start to learn it, because then once you learn it, it stays with you and you carry it through. So, thrombocytes. So if I said someone is suffering from thrombocytopenia, what am I saying? Very good. Yes. So, and then you start to go to clinical, and you should be matching this information with patients that you're taking care of. So then you can make connections and understanding why your patient is dealing with what they're dealing with. And what I suggest to you is when we're talking specific, and more so, this will be important when we get to mentors too, as we're talking about specific problems, you want to go to clinical. Do you pick your patients or your instructor does? You want to pick a patient that's dealing with what we're talking about, because I'm telling you guys, it is phenomenal when you say, oh my God, I have this patient who has this, and we just talked about that, and it stays with you. That's what I did when I was in nursing school. I would go to clinical and choose patients that were dealing with what we were talking about in lecture. And then it stayed with me. I learned it. I didn't memorize the testing. Okay? So, erythrocytes, again, is your RBC, which transports oxygen and CO2. So both of those. And then it looks at your hemoglobin, which is your iron and protein. So what we're talking about is we need to understand that acid-base balance, which is included in this. Okay? And again, I've got special notes here for you that are taken from your book. So if you need that extra understanding of what's in the slide, just go down below. All right. Erythropoiesis, I just mentioned that, okay? Produced in the bone marrow, don't forget that. And it stimulated by hypoxia, controlled by erythropoiesis. So that's what I'm talking about. So sometimes because the patient is, their levels are low, it's because their bone marrow is not producing enough of that erythropoiesis. Types and functions of WBC. So this is some of the breakdown. When a doctor orders a CBC, your CBC consists of, that's your blood, a complete blood count. So that's going to have your H&H, it's going to have your RBCs, your WBCs. But if they order a CBC with a differentiation, that's going to be what this is, because it's going to be a little bit more specific about the neutrophils and the eosinophils and the basophils, which falls under granulocytes, which falls under your CBC. That's the differentiation. Yes. As long as you know the ranges, a normal range, like the low end and the high end, then you're good to go. Okay? You'll be able to answer a question. Alright? Leukocyte is a reflection again of your white blood cells. So, this is just breaking it down. Neutrophils is the most common form of the leukocyte. So I just showed you, if I go back here, this breakdown, right? So the neutrophils is going to be the most common, so it's 50 to 70%. I'm not asking you to know that aspect. I just want you to know, well, that's the reflection of the neutrophils. So that would be what you want to know, 50 to 70% in reference to the neutrophils. But overall, if we're looking at the WBC, it's going to be that 4 to 9. Okay. All right. So this is just breaking it down a little bit more. Okay, lymphocytes, monocytes. Just know the ranges. These are some visuals of what that looks like. So, here's what I want you to know here. I usually try to tell you what I think is important that I want you to know. All right? 2, you can write down, make a mark if you have the PowerPoint. You can make a mark by that slide, or you can write that slide down so you'll know what I mean when I say I want you to know this. In terms of number 17, you need to know the neutrophils. The first site of infection, neutrophils is first at the site of the infection. So the neutrophils will appear first. Okay. So just know that. It's going to appear first at the site. So once the infection is starting, the neutrophils are going to kick in. Why is that? We need protection, right? So when there's a problem with the body, It's like your body talks to you. You need to have some protection. And so when there's an infection invading your body, yeah, they're going to kick in for you. Unless you have a poor, decreased immune system, then that's not going to happen. Okay, necessarily. It will, but it may be a slow process, or it's not going to work necessarily for the patient. Okay. The eosinophils. They only account for 2 to 4% of all the white blood cells. So not a lot, but they do matter. And this is the eosinophil, what we see here. Now, I'm not going to ask you, what they look like. You're not going to be tested on that. And then your basophil. So what I'm doing is just breaking this down to you in terms of the process, right? And then basophils make up less than 2%. So in ranking, the basophils are going to be last. Now, is any of this making sense to you, considering that you've had A and B? Here's what you guys do. You take a class, you pass it, and you go like this. I'm glad that's over with. And that's not what you want to do. You've got to bring that knowledge with you to the nursing. So whatever course you take, it has some value in the next one. So that's what I'm saying. I'm very humorous, by the way, so otherwise, there's something just boring. But that's what I mean. Okay. All right. And then a granulocyte. So let's move on here. So in other words, this is just breaking it down, monocyte, and then it has a visual for you. So that's what this particular lecture is about. Thrombocytes, I just asked you, what's that called if a patient has it? Thrombo. There you go. So the decrease in platelet count. And then they initiate the clotting process. There is so much that happens in your body on a day-to-day basis, and you have no clue. Our bodies are working for us. It's just continuously every day. The blood's pumping. All of that is going on. So unless there's a problem. So it's good that we have this protection. Partially regulated, now thrombocytes are partially regulated by the thrombopoietin. Again, that's a part of the white blood cell in the bone marrow. So, know that the platelets has a lot to do with the clotting process. Hemostasis. So, in other words, it's a term used to describe the arrest of bleeding. Okay? The process is important in minimizing blood loss. So, we want this to happen so that there isn't that blood loss. So these are the things that happen in reference to that hemostasis. Okay? Once there's an injury, and then all of this aggregation, activation, all of that kicks in for us to help protect us. So, this is just breaking that down some more. Wait a minute. So each of these are described below. So I'm going to get one. Have we had a break yet?
No. 120.
Oh, 120. Yeah, I just don't want you to miss it. Okay. I hear voice. Okay. So, platelet aggregation. That's your fibrin that kicks in for you. Okay? Platelet aggregation is stimulated by TSA2 and ADP. remember that from your AAT that day. So, the rest of this is just talking about that the clotting factor, and then it breaks it down into specifics of those four we talked about up here. So we talked about the bone marrow, blood, and now it's getting into the spleen and its filtration. So again, all of this is helping, it's just kicking in to help us when there's a foreign object or foreign entity that enters our body. Okay? So, the spleen function. So it's listing what the spleen does for us in terms of protection. So, contains a rich supply of lymphocytes, monocytes, so all of that is involved in the spleen in the anatomy series. So your lymph system is also, so when we talk about the lymphatic system, which also helps us, we're talking about these elements. So we have lymph fluid, capillaries, ducts, sacs, nose, all of that kicks in for us. And then it just breaks it down. So, and then there's just these visuals for you. So just to see if you can go back. I've shown some of these earlier. So this is just to see if you can go back. You gotta undo this. You can name these. Okay? But again, specifically photos, I'm not going to test you on it. Okay? The liver. The liver is a filtering system. So make sure you understand that aspect of it. It functions as a filter. Produces all from coagulants to that hemostasis that I mentioned. Okay? So, any questions on that information? Again, this is pretty much your kind of reflective of your anatomy and physiology stuff, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, rather spend more time on the specifics. As you can see in this visual, we have lymph nodes throughout our body. Okay, so lymph nodes are everywhere. When disease happens, it can spread quickly by way of the blood system and the lymphatic system. Okay, let's look at this question, since we talked about that earlier. EC is diagnosed with thrombocytopenia, right? You know what that is now. To evaluate the effectiveness of her treatment, the nurse plans to monitor what? Now, in testing, is this a negative question or a positive?
Positive.
It's a positive. It's how the question is formed. So it says to evaluate the effectiveness. That's paraphrase that. To know whether it's working, that's a positive. Because the reason why I want to point that out is when you're testing, when you get these kind of questions, if you determine whether that question is a positive or negative,